Tema is known to be the most well-planned city in West Africa. Its layout, with green belts that serve recreational purposes for pensioners, adults and children, are an envy to many cities. Not only do green belts serve humans, they serve birds and other animals too. For this and many other reasons, residents who live at Owor Junction, an intersection that divides Tema communities 10 and 11, named after the snaky nature of the road here, are upset at the wanton destruction and sale of green belts in favor of concrete developments.
All these developments are less than a year and a half or 2 years old, because it used to be a green belt. Up to the wall behind us is a green belt. Now, TDC now has a stand that they have a say, or they have the right to rezone the green belt. We know it as a green belt because some of us have seen it in the old master plan that Kwame Nkrumah had prepared, was prepared for Tema. So now they say we are hemmed in, so they can rezone green belts and give it up for development. And we are protesting that they have done it up to this point, but the rest, you can see it. We have explained all the problems that we are having: the flooding, the emergency services, the water supply, the area for kids and even assembly. We have explained it all. We're saying that this thing is not convenient to us.
The assembly member of the area blames the Tema Development Corporation (TDC) for having a penchant to sell reserved green belts.
Let me put it on record that TDC is fond of encroaching on lands that they themselves claim that it had been reserved for the community. They did that to a parcel of land that was supposed to be used to build the police station. We fought against it and later they left. Then the current public school that served Committee 10, Committee 11 and Committee 12 was equally sold by TDC. Again, the community has to come in and fight for them to release that land. Now today we are here again. The same attitude, the same behavior, nothing is changing. Keep on telling them that the reserved lands are meant for the community, for educational purposes and other utility services. But they don't care. The diversion that they have done, it has affected almost about hundreds of households. Today in Tema, or today in Committee 10 and 11, when you get up in the morning, you cannot even have water to bath. If you really want water, then you have to wake up at dawn.
They say their efforts to re-green the area has proven futile, alleging that what is left of the green belt has also been sold to some top guns of the Ghana Water Company, blaming the acute shortage of water as a result of the diversion of their water lines and recent flooding in the area on the trend.
We did plant grass, we did plant trees here. For well over 3-4 months, there was a nice looking grass here. And despite the fact that we have been in contact with the TDC, we have been negotiating and telling them about our problems and our objection to development. One morning we got up and somebody brought a machine here and cleared all the work we have done here. All the grass was gone, all the trees that were nursing were all brought down. The next day he brought material, building material, sandstone, as you can see, and blocks here. So that was destroyed.
They have therefore called on the TDC to listen to their concerns and retreat.
We want the remaining, at least. We are not going to say we'll break down what has been given out, but the remaining to be left as it is, so we can develop it for our community use.
What if that is not done? What would you do?
We'll continue crying till somebody hears us.
But the TDC says the residents are acting in ignorance, as reserved green belts can be rezoned to meet the growing needs of the population.
In every community that is developed, there are spaces which are left for future development. And so this particular area was an open space which was reserved for future development. And if you see, the scheme was done in such a way that with urban redevelopment, we will be able to redevelop the area in such a way that it will accommodate more people. Same thing is currently even happening at Committee 1 Side 3, just opposite TDC, where there's infilling ongoing. Places that when the flats were built were left for new flats to be built. So we need to get those distinction. It is important that people get to know these distinctions. It's not every land lying within Tema which has a tree or any green plantation on it that is termed as a green belt.
Asked whether the TDC has indeed sold the green belts to top guns at the Ghana Water Company as well as some officials of the TDC itself, this is what the TDC had to say.
These are mere allegations that I understand some of these accusations that will come up, but the truth of the matter is that TDC officials don't live in these areas on this particular stretch. And this particular stretch was a place that was applied for by these same residents in TDC. Some of these residents themselves applied for this particular stretch, but in our response to them, we indicated to them that that particular place that they were applying for was not supposed to even be their frontage. And we had received other applications, and so since they were already living there, we were going to consider new applicants. And that is how come the place was given to people who had also applied. We need to take into consideration that TDC as a company is into real estate management, and we are also bound by law based upon non-disclosure also to be careful as to who you disclose owns a property in a particular place.
In a separate interview, the executive director of the Environmental Protection Agency EPA, Henry Kwabena Kokofu, has observed with concern the rezoning of areas by assemblies, making it possible for greenbelts to be sold.
A land may be a reserved or may be reserved for particular ABC. As time goes on, and with the passage of time and the settlement and developments and all those things, it may necessarily be to change the usage from the previous. So,
Like a green belt.
So the district assemblies have also the authority through the LUPSA to either rezone some areas into other land use purposes. That is where the challenges begin. So you may, on the outset, may think that this land is not good for, or is not fit for purpose for what is being done, for habitat or something of the sort. The owner might have then applied to the LUPSA and it's been rezoned. So certificate of rezoning is on it. The person decides to do something, applies to EPA and said, but this, your land cannot be used for. What is the status of the usage? It gives you, oh, it's been rezoned for commercial purposes. So then your guard is lowered. Your place is rezoned.
He says assemblies found to be abusing rezoning without cause will be held accountable.
The new phase of EPA is going beyond that to see if a rezoning is done and is done improperly, what remedy there are. Stop the proponent, take him on, and is that okay? No, for me. We have got to go beyond that to see the authority that did the rezoning and then the officer in charge that did. So you go to ask what actually went on to warrant that rezoning. So these are things that are evolving. It ought to have been there, but anyway. So these are things that are evolving and trying to put fear into people that no matter what you do, you will be held accountable when the time comes.